Hello, hello, hello. We've been delayed by a day. I can't believe it. My show was affected by Mark Zuckerberg and his 30-year-old t-shirt. How could this be? But nonetheless, you are once again up front with Frank Rothstein on skiescrescentradio.com. Yes, no matter how powerful Mark may be in his many social media platforms, he couldn't remove the E from the skies. SKYES, crescentradio.com is where we are. Also by the same name on Facebook. So that's where we're broadcasting video live on. Facebook.com/skiescrescentradio or /upfront with Frank Rothstein or I'm just going to keep on filling the blanks or and that's where we are. So how is everybody this week? What did all of you do yesterday? What happened? You couldn't go on Facebook, you couldn't go on Instagram, you couldn't use WhatsApp, you couldn't use a couple of other things that he probably owns. Wow, I was enjoying it. All the social media influencers were silenced. Nobody can tell you their beauty secrets, how fashion should be, show you all the videos of them walking around, doing this and that, taking that usual, and I hate this, the Instagram photo where you always see the girl doing this with her phone, and of course looking up, puckering, telling you where they are, hashtag this, hashtag that, hashtag the other thing. But that was yesterday. But I was walking around, I'm in Manhattan, you always see something interesting. And, you're making your money by telling your life story on the internet. Well, I could see where that would leave you feeling a bit naked because you don't know how long it's going to go on for. I mean, fortunately for business, it was only, 7 hours or so? Well, I could see what people would panic over, especially if they're 19 and they live on the internet. But then I was walking around, I saw some girl hanging out her window, like the second or third floor, screaming about her beauty tips, showing you how she puts her makeup on. And there was the crowd pretty much in just unison, just doing this. And I'm pretty sure the L sign wasn't the like sign, but that's what you were getting, the L sign. And then, of course, I have a virtual tip jar. I figured I'd take it out in real life. I put it in front of me at the coffee shop while I was simply talking, like I do now, telling you about this, that, and whatever else I find. I think a relative gave me $1. Nobody else cared. And then I saw another influencer out there walking. I didn't see anybody following them. I didn't see anyone really caring. And it just led me to believe that once you're in real life, you're all just part of one big crowd. It just don't matter. That's why all my followers had abandoned me for 7 hours. Yeah, well, what can you do? Fortunately, me and my ESP crowd, we all just thought kind thoughts and everybody was happy. But yeah, the people who really suffered, forgetting Facebook and Instagram, all the people who use WhatsApp, because that is a phone service. If you're not familiar with it, it's the communication service online. So for people in Chinatown who call home, it's for free or very little if they have whatever package they have, as opposed to really using a telephone and paying a fortune for a long distance. So fortunately, everything in this telephone screen related world came back to normal, allowing us to do this here today and talk to everybody. Sitting with me as always, still floating in space. And in the backdrop between her and the planet Earth is William Shatner. I guess he was jettisoned from the pod. It is, of course, Jade Zabrick. Hello, Jade. And Jade and her band, the Train Walkers, were at Arlene's Grocery, all 10 to 30 of them, on stage, and the stage going at it. I saw a few clips. I saw a few little clips. They were singing a few good songs, You Can't Hurry Love being one of them. And it was pretty cool. We got a good show. Everyone seemed to have a good time. How many hours? You do 4 hours? Is that what the deal was? 4 hours. Last person I heard of doing 4 hours was Bruce Springsteen. There it is. You're in good company, Jake. You and Bruce Springsteen. That's pretty cool. But yeah, we're still going. We're still talking. Everything's good. Well, the Mets, the playoffs of baseball are starting tonight. Unfortunately, my Mets are not there. but the Yankees got in. The Jets and the Giants finally won one. Finally. Which means they both just screwed up their chances for a draft pick. Already you can see that the season is crushed, but this is what's, they have one win each out of 4 games. So anyway, and speaking of, I was just joking that Jade's sitting there in space with William Shatner. Yeah, everyone knows, it's been all over the news, he's going into space. One of the billionaire rockets. They're bringing William Shatner into space. Now, why I'm mentioning this is because I was reading an article last week about James Bond and all the critiques of how he should be this, character is that. This one said that the character's license to kill should be revoked because his character, the way it stands now, is giving England the wrong idea that they're really a world power. So here you have a guy accusing a country of taking their cues from a fictitious character, from a fictional character. James Bond is telling England what to do. But why I say that is because people do get confused. They actually believe what they see on film. Like people who really do think they're like Michael Myers or someone else, William Shatner is 90. He's being ferried into space for an 11-minute mission, whatever. And even if they give him the courtesy of giving one of those Captain Kirk-like orders, like take us out, or whatever Captain Kirk would say, just remember it's not Captain Kirk going into space. It is an actor. It's a 90-year-old actor. He says he's scared to death. I don't blame him. But yes, years ago it started when Mr. Scott died. When James Doohan died, they took his ashes, and it was like Scotty they put some of his ashes into space. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool when the Beatles song Across the Universe was beamed out into space. No one's ever going to hear it, but I sort of liked it. So if William Shatner wants to make a little trip around Earth, do a few figure eights out there with a bunch of billionaires flying it, I'm all for it. Go Bill. Just remember, gang, he's an actor. He's not really going to fire a phaser at anybody. And then anyway, that's just what I thought. Oh, and by the way, back to James Bond, as of course he is shattering records with in Europe with the movie No Time to Die. Good for them. But there is a lot of stuff going on in the world these days. I couldn't believe. In the only particular order is from when I first found the article. I didn't want to forget it. So this one I actually got from October 1st, not that long ago. It says a professor sues UCLA over suspension for not grading Black students more leniently. And this says a UCLA professor is suing the school for putting him on involuntary leave. Excuse me, let me start that again. I had it right the first time. A UCLA professor is suing the school for putting him on involuntary leave for allegedly threatening to fire him because he refused to grade Black students more leniently than whites in the wake of the George Floyd murder. It says, recently I was suspended from my job for refusing to treat my Black students as lesser than their non-Black peers. Non-Black meaning, in this case, white, but it could be anyone else. And that is from Gordon Klein in an op-ed in Barry Weiss's Common Sense newsletter on Substack. I never heard of either, but okay. The dean of UCLA's business school launched an investigation into Klein's actions, put him on leave, and tried to terminate him. Except he's been at the Anderson School for Management for 40 years. So anyway, he's suing. Says he also, here it is, he's also suffered severe emotional distress, trauma, and physical ailments as a result of the school's actions. Here it comes. Not sure what the number is, but he's going to sue. Now, I don't know what this lawsuit's worth, but somehow I agree with not grading a student on a lower curve because of their skin color, their religion, or any other reason. You are not doing anyone a favor by letting them pass simply because, basically, of who they are. Basically. as a general rule, basically because of who they are. That would be the same as the stereotype of all of Chinese and Japanese being great at math and giving them an A when they really only got a C. It just doesn't work. You got to earn it. And I was a horrible student. It's not that I'm unintelligent, but as a student in school, I was a disaster. I was reading Shakespeare before people in my class, but I was a disaster. And because I couldn't, sitting there was torturing me. But to grade someone higher than they deserve, I barely scraped by, let's put it that way. I was bad, terrible at school. When I got to my first year at college, I only took 1 year of college. I was taking a summer course for the hell of it, and it was cost of inventory, cost of whatever ratio. Anyway, I was reading an invoice the way I was taught to. The professor thought I was wrong every time, failed me, but still passed me in the end. He still passed me. And I knew that. I even asked, why did you pass me? Anyway, he didn't want to hear it. And I just got my grade and got out. But this, to me, if you're going to sit there and send students in a class that are pretty much all but guaranteed to pass simply because of their skin color, is wrong. So yes, I will agree with this professor based on the facts that I'm seeing right here. Certainly, I don't believe you're doing anyone a favor. Excuse me. I believe you are setting people up for failure that way. So when all the kids, all the students go out into the real world and look for a job and look to do this or that, and they're not prepared, and they're not prepared to fail, it'll be even worse. And they won't be qualified for the jobs they think they're qualified, or anything they think they want to do, because they were passed when they shouldn't have been. So let's keep up with UCLA and see what goes on over there. And if anyone wants to tell me about it, my email is upfrontfrank@gmail.com, upfrontfrank@gmail.com, or go to my Facebook page, Upfront with Frank Rothstein. Feel free to leave a comment, a note, send me some virtual flowers. I'm easy. What else is going on? Oh, I like this one here. This one I just got a laugh out of. Some people are crazy, some people are smart, and some people are just outright both. This guy's both plus a thief. A museum paid an artist $84,000 for a painting, commissioned work. It says Kunsten in Denmark, the Kunsten Museum of Modern Art. They were hoodwinked after giving artist Jens Hanning $84,000 to use in a piece. And what he did was, this artist brought in a big piece of blank canvas, or two blank canvases, titled it "Take the Money and Run," and they hung it on the wall. Well, all right. Yeah, okay, there you go. That's what he did. And so they put it on the wall. I'm not sure if this is well, anyway, they paid, he delivered. Was there any lawsuit? I'm looking. I just stopped reading this after the first paragraph. I was laughing my head off. Yeah, $84,000 out there, plus offered an additional 6,000 euros or $7,000 if needed to be displayed in the opus itself. Well. It says per the contract, the amount would have to be returned by January 16, 2022. Let's see what happens with that. But this is a big piece of work hanging on the wall. Too bad there's nothing on it. So yeah, take the money and run. I like that. Oh, well, what else is going on in the world? There's a lot going on in the world. One of the articles I like, and I've never worked in a restaurant in my life, but I have dealt with people as a customer. I mean, I've dealt with people who were my customers, my clients in ways. This came out of the Wall Street Journal on the 28th of September. And it says, restaurant and hotels push back against uptick of customer tantrums. Yep. You've seen the videos, whether you see them on the news or on YouTube or on TikTok or anywhere else, it's always somebody throwing a tantrum because any one of a million reasons. Maybe their fries weren't brought to them fast enough. Maybe the salt shaker was only half full. Maybe the wait staff was having a bad day and didn't give them a big pleasant smile when they're walking on a sprained ankle. Who knows? So it says, Chris Sirianni typed 4 words in capital letters, hit print, and taped the message to the front door of his restaurant. The printout says, "Be kind or leave." And this is in the front of the brewery at Union Station in Erie, Pennsylvania. They had enough. He stood up for his staff. Have you ever seen what people are like inside of restaurants when they, Oh yes, you've seen the videos. A lot of it's in fast food. They go behind, they try to get behind the counters. They're throwing everything on the floor. They're screaming, they're cursing, they're yelling. It doesn't, any number of reasons. Usually it's filed over a Karen video, but it's not, I don't know if it's not always a Karen. So it's a lot of reasons why this happens, but the staff, whether it's behind the counter or the wait staff or the bus staff, they're always the first people to get it. And I thought this was great, that the owner is taking up for their staff, not worried about making the money. And this, the brewery, brewery. And a lot of restaurants liked it. They applauded it, and I think a few of them are adapting it because why not? Why not? I understand the chef makes the mistake. The waiter's the first one to see the people eating. I can see why. I understand why they are the first one to get it. Certainly, not very few people actually get to go into the kitchen to complain, but there's an extent of what the complaint can be. So anyway, that's right. Be kind or be gone. Be kind or leave. Stop throwing your tantrums. You're grown adults screaming and yelling like an 8-year-old. And of course, fixing the problem does not mean throwing the straws and the napkins on the floor. But I thought that was pretty cool. What else is going on in the world? Oh yeah, this is a local story for New York City. A lot of restaurants have closed down, even though, since the COVID thing, and they have their outdoor dining sheds, but a lot of them couldn't make it. A lot of places, they put up their outdoor dining areas, made them look as nice as possible, did their best, but they closed. Unfortunately, they left the outdoor dining sheds out there. They're structures, not even like a canopy you can take down. These are structures. And now they're being used by the homeless. The homeless are sleeping in them, using them as bathrooms, drug use. Wait for the truck passing my window. And this is becoming a problem. Not to mention with all the garbage being left around, all the infestations, all the rats, the bugs. And this has been going on now for, people gave it a shot. So this has been going on for a little while. But especially as eviction rules have changed, as people are now starting to have to pay rent on their business, this is happening a little more frequently lately because everybody gave it a shot. And, this was going to happen. Some would survive, some places would not. But the outdoor dining structures should not be allowed or should not be left behind. And there's quite a few of them. Yeah, I'm looking at this in Greenwich Village. There's a few spots on LaGuardia Place. They're just there. They're just there. Now, there are some active restaurants where they understand that a couple of the homeless guys are there and they're sleeping, especially in the rain. And the owners don't care. I've read where they spoke to, or I've heard where they spoke to some of them, and the more cooperative people know not to leave a mess, take up their stuff and leave, early in the morning before everyone comes in to clean and do whatever. But for the most part, when you have empty, abandoned structures, that's what you're going to get. This is squatting. not like in a home squatting where you can actually delay getting thrown out, but that's pretty much what it is. They found a place, they copped a squat, and that's it. That's where they are at night. As the weather gets colder, and if these structures are not taken down, that's what you're going to have. You'll see people probably doing like the old doo-wop thing of lighting a garbage can on fire and just keeping warm by that. But yeah, I used to know a guy who did that, homeless guy. He'd find little nooks, little places, alleys, anywhere he could do it with enough boxes. And he made a little cardboard tent for himself in a way so he could sleep at night. And how he kept warm, the money he got during the day from people in the street, he saved up enough money to buy a small propane heater, and every day he'd replace the tank. Now, this wouldn't keep him warm, but it took the edge off the cold so his blanket could keep him warm for a while. But he was used to it. And it was probably still freezing, but it was a better grade of freezing, I guess. At least the more he was more comfortable. But yeah, there are a lot of places that are now just being left there. I'm surprised more fires haven't happened with it. But all right, we'll see what happens. I think that if a business does not take it, the landlord cannot get them to come get it. I think the landlord of the building should be held liable because they allowed it in front of their place in the first place. Speaking of allowing stuff, Airbnb has gotten rid of one of its one guy who was renting, because here you got a guy who put up an internet ad, called himself Nancy, and what he did was he did up a van. He really made the inside of the van look cute, put a bed in there, and he was renting it out as an Airbnb. And there are these idiots who was renting it from him to sleep in a van in Manhattan. Nice van. I don't mind having it. But the police have now confiscated it because it was going as an Airbnb, and I don't know what the regulations are, but they got it. They put stickers on it. Yeah. One dissatisfied customer made a YouTube video out of his awful August 4th stay. Well, it should be awful. He paid $97. There's no bathroom. There's no nothing. There's not a shower. You idiot. Look, I sound like Seinfeld. What are you doing? Why are you renting this? And that's just what people do. People are dumb. They're just dumb. So anyway, speaking of dumb, I was laughing the other day. This is from a few days ago. I got it from Business Insider. Rudy, our America's mayor, former New York City mayor, former Attorney General, New York State Attorney General, Rudy Giuliani admits under oath that he got, look, I even need a fake radio voice for this one. Rudy Giuliani admits under oath that he got some of his evidence of alleged election fraud from Facebook. Here you go. He's the mayor. He was the former attorney general. You'd think he'd know of somebody who could verify for him. But no, he's now just Rudy. And Rudy was getting his news and his information off of Facebook and running with it. And since his former boss, Donald Trump, believes anybody who says anything he wants to hear, he went along with it. So, oh man, this is what goes on. People are just that bad. Holy crap. So anyway, yeah, the social media post got one over on. Well, I'm laughing at it, but it's not funny. That's been a lot of serious events that have happened since all that started. All of it. And to me, worst of which happened last January at the Capitol building. And that's what happens when you don't verify. In part, what happens when you don't verify, you don't know what you're talking about. And especially now, where everyone's so shallow and so thin-skinned, and they believe almost everything their cult-like leader tells them. And yeah, like a snowball effect. What is it now? Wow, this hour is flying by. What else is going on? Oh, just a reminder. The This came out at the end of September. Your mail delivery is going to get slower and pricier, it says, just in time for the holidays. I got that from NPR, WNYC. Yeah, things are changing at the post office again. Prices will be going up on how you ship. So start checking into that now. And if you really, really, absolutely, positively have to get it there the day before Christmas, send it FedEx. Because don't rely on the mails. That's always been the running joke of, you can't count on the mail. But don't swear by it this time. Things are changing. I was also looking at this thing here. This came out of the New York Post again, which covers a lot of other feeds. The headline was why Bezos, Musk, Page, and other billionaires want to live forever. Well, that's a thought. Why would anybody want to live forever? However, it starts with almost 2 months after Jeff Bezos blasted off into space, debuting his rocket along with a new plumper face. The Amazon honcho announced a new investment in Altos Labs, a startup dedicating to discovering how to reverse the aging process. While non-Botoxed eyebrows were raised around the world, he's not the only one. So it was kind of like this. He's not the only one who wants to become Dorian Gray. If you want to understand what that line means, just Google the name Dorian Gray, Dorian Gray. But yeah, people who can afford it are investing in ways of how to live forever. This is a very big ego thing. And I know that many people are afraid of dying. But it's a thought. What would happen if you could live forever? Well, let's just say, what's a good age to freeze the aging process by? Let's say 50. Want to be generous? Still young enough to run it? Think you're not? Okay, we'll say 40. Okay. You found a way to live forever. You're never going to die. You are living forever, eternally through time. You will be there. You're going to forever live forever. What happens? Well, you get to see everybody you ever cared about in your life, one way or another, die. Humans become antiquated. Humans become antiquated in their current structure. I mean, I'm 5'10" and a half. I'm one of the biggest guys in my family, but people are getting bigger now. I remember growing up watching the NBA. If you were 6'6", you were huge. The tallest guy was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was 7'4". Now there's plenty of guys 7'4". That's just the way it is. I remember the heavyweight champion of the world. Wow, they started off at 185, 195. Jack Dempsey in the 1920s weighed 195. Muhammad Ali came in around 215 after he passed 30. What's his size? 6'3", well-built man, 215. In today's heavyweight division, he'd be considered small because one champion is 6'6", one is 6'7". Tyson Fury fighting this weekend is 6'9". They're getting bigger and bigger every day. It just happens. Now, well, a friend of mine had his son about 15, 16 years ago. This kid's now 16. He's about 6'4". I stood next to him. I remember him as a baby holding my finger so he could try to walk. Now he's 6'4". I can hop on his back for a piggyback ride. Things change. People will become antiquated, physically antiquated, obsolete, because the world would move on. We would just be there. And who knows what happens to currency in the future. So you're not dying, you're living forever. Let's say what happens in, I don't know, 500 years? Is currency still around? It's a fictional example, but look at Star Trek. They don't use currency. No, no one used currency. Earth doesn't have that anymore. Not there. Not in the 24th century anyway. That's fiction. But that's a theory. What happens in a few hundred years? Do we still use money? Your favorite teams, the things you enjoy, your favorite sports, are they still around? Are they? You know, does anybody young remember the things that you remember? Will they care to hear the old stories from a few hundred years ago? What will happen to you as time goes on in 1,000 years? You're not going to die no matter what happens, but maybe we didn't turn out so good. Do you really want to see that? And again, the people you start caring for again will be gone. Will be gone. Which was actually the premise of the movie Bicentennial Man, Robin Williams movie. He was playing a robot, an android, so to say, robot, yeah. And that was actually touched on in Star Trek with the character Data, who was an android, who often thought, and both characters thought, that they will never get old, but everyone else around them will. And in Bicentennial Man, he wound up caring. He started off caring for a family, and there's one little girl in the family that he always referred to as Little Miss. As the movie went on, he went off about his life as he gained independence and whatever, and he left. And he came back, and he goes back to the house, and the door is open. And where Little Miss was always loved him and was nice to him, he sees the same woman, and he looks at her as Little Miss. She has no idea who it is. Well, because she looks just like the kid, except it's her granddaughter. So he's missed it full 2 generations. You have the same woman, but now it's a different, it's the granddaughter who looks just like the grandmother. Things changed. The person he left behind was now getting a lot older. Things changed. And he wound up falling in love with the granddaughter. And now she's getting old and he's still young. So he went through a process. There was a change. He went through the process that ended the robot's ability to stay the way it was forever. He was now going to get old. He wanted to be able to die. And that's, at the end of the movie, that's what happened. It's a nice movie. In Star Trek Commander Data, there was no idea of how long this unit, as he called himself, a unit, would last. It was addressed finally in the first season of Paramount's Star Trek Picard. Captain Picard, and now Admiral Picard's in his 90s. Data, who was killed who was destroyed in the last movie, was still kept alive in like a machine program, but he was aware, and he just said it was time, and he asked Captain or Admiral Picard to terminate the program, so he got to die. Now it's Star Trek; they can always bring him back some other way, but for people, humans, to continue life forever and ever, unless that's what I mean. I don't know that I would want that. I don't know that. I don't want to see people being, not that I want to see people advancing. And if they're 8 feet tall, they're 8 feet tall. But where would I fit in? Where would people today fit in? Maybe a few hundred years from now. So that's billionaires wanting to stay alive forever. First of all, they have to hope their billions, are still in effect, so they can remain, keep their status. Then they have to find out a way or hope that they still fit in, that they serve a purpose. Otherwise, I believe people like that would be just cast off, pushed to the side. Well, anyway, it's something to think about. At least I think about it once in a while when I see a story like that. Now back to something with a little less depth, or somewhat of depth. A man has quit booze for metal, and he had 2 pounds of hardware removed from his stomach. And this is the Lithuanian guy who was rushed to a hospital last week after swallowing more than 2 pounds of metal in a bizarre attempt to stop drinking alcohol. Don't ask me. I don't know why. He admitted to taking the nails, screws, nuts, and knives in a bid to curb his alcohol addiction, underwent an emergency 3-hour surgery at Klaipeda University Hospital. This is according to BBC, so it has to be true. It's from BBC. And some of the objects are 4 inches long, and the surgeon said it was a unique case. Yes, it is. How nails can successfully go down, forget you can't digest it, but how did it not shred this guy going down? Wow. Anyway, so I guess he could pass through airport security now until he thinks of something else. Okay, here's a story. This is out of Canada. A restaurant worker was awarded $30,000 by the Canadian tribunal after pronouns spat. That's the headline. As it turns out, well, it says don't call them sweetie. A restaurant worker who uses they, them pronouns was awarded $30,000 by a government tribunal after complaining about a manager who refused to abide by the request. Instead of using Jesse Nelson's preferred pronouns, the bar manager at Bono Osteria in Gibbons, Canada, reportedly called Nelson she, sweetheart, sweetie, honey, and that's according to the British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal. Well, now, isn't that interesting? It's a very short article. So anyway, got $30,000. Okay, I will understand if people have a problem or a little bit difficulty saying they and them. Why are you calling anyone sweetie, sweetheart, honey, or any other type of name of that in that manner to someone who works for you? And oh well, $30,000 richer, and I'm sure not working there anymore. And again, I've never had to call anyone she or they or them. I disagree with the grammar. I'm not kidding. I disagree with the grammar. They or them is plural. So somebody needs to come up with better words, because just by itself, if someone tells me they walked into the room, I'm looking for a group. Okay, next. Don't mess with Clint Eastwood, by the way. Everything else, do what you got to do, but don't mess with Clint Eastwood. Here's why. The headline is, Clint Eastwood wins $6.1 million in a CBD lawsuit called The Loser of the Case, Scammers. And what happened is, somebody used his likeness in a Lithuanian, of course, another Lithuanian thing, Lithuanian company that sells CBD supplements. They had no right to. They had no rights to his likeness, and he sued for the 6.1 plus $95,000 in legal fees. That comes from the New York Times. And of course, they can no longer touch his picture. Yes, that's it. Don't mess with Clint. Here's one. You know, all these stories come out through the week since I last talked to you, so, you know. Okay, the headline is, Louisiana health system to charge workers extra if spouses or domestic partners are unvaccinated. Listen up, people. An unvaccinated spouse is about to make things a whole lot more expensive for employees in one medical system in Louisiana. That's what it says. Starting in 2022, workers at Ochsner Health will have to pay an extra $100 per paycheck if their spouse or domestic partner is unvaccinated. That's according to NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana, NOLA.com. Last year, the company spent more than $9 million on caring for COVID patients and insured. Ochsner CEO Warner Thomas, that was according to Warner Thomas. The reality is the cost of treating COVID-19 patients is particularly, I'm sorry, I'm babbling. The reality is the cost of treating COVID-19, particularly for patients requiring intensive inpatient care. Um, hmm. Well, the company's vaccinated rate says it's 82% now. There's something wrong with this. If I'm hiring you to work for me, or if you're hiring me to work for you, either way, I don't see where it's your business as to what the person living with me is, on their medical status, on their vaccination status. If you're going to ask for one vaccination, you might as well ask for all vaccinations. I know schools do this with kids for things like measles and all, but somehow requiring proof that somebody you live with is vaccinated seems wrong. And what happens if you have a vaccinated partner? Then you break up. Then you have another partner that's not vaccinated. Are you required to now keep the company informed of your social status? If the company you work for allows unvaccinated people to be there and they have a vaccinated partner, do you get $100 credit on your per paycheck, like a perk? $100 bonus every week? It's the same thing. Same theory. I don't like this. That's what's up in Louisiana. Oh yes, it's getting that time. It's 5:43, in case anyone wants to know. Let's see what else is going on here. Here's something I find totally disgusting, and I have talked about this quite a few times out here. The headline is, this came out from yesterday. 250,000 New Yorkers have taken advantage of the $100 COVID vaccine incentive. You remember I told you that New York wanted to pay people to get, their vaccination. Well, now let me touch on the story, and then I'll tell you what I think. And it says the city has now made 250,000 New Yorkers $100 richer in the vaccine incentive. And that's according to Mayor Bill de Blasio. That's announced yesterday. The figure has risen 85,000 since September 15th, when the Big Apple had doled out 165,000 gift cards to New York residents receiving their first jabs. Since the start of the $100 incentive, 250,000 New Yorkers have taken advantage of it. Says the mayor noted that 45% of the people who have reaped the benefits of the so far 25 million publicly funded initiative are Latino. And 40% of the recipients have been young, specifically between 18 and 35. I understand what the idea is. People want everyone to get vaccinated. If you are so against getting vaccinated in the first place, whether you claim to have a medical condition why you couldn't do it in the first place, whether you feel it's against your religious beliefs or the vaccine is outright poison, what did the $100 do for you? What can $100 possibly do for any one person that could make them sell out their fear? Because the money is going to be spent right away. The money is spent immediately. Even if you did something meaningful with it, you bought groceries for the house, or a couple of pair of shoes for the kids, or paid off your electric bill, and did something important, it's gone like that. So what did $100 really do for you? And I just named the more important stuff. How about the average person who goes out drinking, goes into a restaurant, or a kid wants to buy another sweatshirt, hoodie. When I was growing up, this was not a hoodie, it was a sweatshirt with a hood on. But what is the price of your fear? Evidently, it's $100. So I'm sorry if I'm not all that understanding about this. Actually, I'm not all that sorry. I think these people, all 250,000 of them, are full of shit. That's what I think. This is insane. This is insane. And this is as dumb as it can get. Everybody who pays taxes has to now give money to people who don't pay a dime of it, so they'll get a vaccination. Screw that. And I know that in terms of state budgets, 250,000 isn't a fortune. I know that. But how many more people do you have to cover? Oh no. This is as dumb as San Francisco that wants to pay people who are likely to shoot others $300 not to shoot others. It's yeah. Moving on. Well, we talked about Bill Shatner. Good luck to him. Oh, by the way, the cost of cotton can be going up. And I got this from CNN Business today. And it says T-shirts and jeans may get more expensive as cotton prices hit a 10-year high. So start looking at your prices. Start looking at what things you got to buy. If you can afford to, if you don't want, if you're worried about paying more, maybe get a few more now. Maybe get a few extra now before the prices go up. And just keep in mind, keep watch, as you're going to see the price tags, and keep up with the price of cotton. It affects you in more ways than you realize. Oh man, and what else is going on? Well, here's something that'll give you true cause for concern. In Ireland, there's a clown shortage. In Northern Ireland, amid COVID-19 lockdown. You hear that, people? There's a clown shortage. What will the circuses do? It may seem like, what does it say here? It may seem like COVID-19 pandemic has revealed many clowns, but Northern Ireland circuses are actually experiencing a shortage of performers. That's no laughing matter. David Duffy, co-owner of Duffy's Circus in Northern Ireland, told BBC his business is in dire need of clowns because many performers in the circus returned to their home countries after the initial lockdown in 2020. They're out of clowns. Well, okay, I'll give you a little help. Here's a little reasoning for people who are iffy on the job. If you wear the rubber nose, it's like a mask. If you wear a little bit of something over your mouth, get like a big plastic thing, it's a mask. The rubber nose covers your nose, half a mask. So yes, that's the real problem and tragedy in the world, that Ireland is running out of clowns. So anyway, if you're a clown in America, and there are plenty of them who need a little work, fly out, see what happens. Gotta love this stuff. Gotta love this stuff. Oh man, this is what's going on. Clown shortages and people selling their fears. That's it, people. I mean, do I need to go on? There's plenty of stuff I can go on about. Fortunately, unlike the clowns, with all the websites going back up, all the social influencers can now go back on Facebook, on Instagram, and once again post those cosmetic tips and show you all the filters they put on their faces to make themselves look prettier, even though it's not real, and use that fake internet voice to describe their video when it says, Frank just had coffee. And yeah, it's a weird world, isn't it? That's where I get a kick. It's all a prop for me. The world is my prop, people. I ask everyone should be heard, but the world is my prop. No clowns in Ireland. People pocketing a quick 100 for a little get high night, or a little beer night, or a little night out for a little fun, or maybe for whatever it is they're going to do with $100 to get a shot they didn't want to get in the first place. And that is what's going on. And if you'd like to try any of this yourself, please write to us at Skies, that's with the E, Skies Crescent Radio @gmail.com. Tell us what you think, what your idea is. Somebody will get back to you in short order and very quickly and tell you what's involved and that will be easy. Go follow Jade and her band on thetrainwalkers.com. Visit the website skiescrescentradio.com, back to that name, and go see what the station is doing. There's plenty of room for you, a lot of hours in the day. You don't have to be live. You can record it. You can record it. You can make our jobs easy. We'll just upload it and you're good to go. Personally, I'd like to see you make our jobs a little bit tougher. We want to get involved with you, see what you're about, see what's going on. And then every first Friday of the month, you can find the Train Walkers at Arlene's Grocery, 95 Stanton Street, New York City. And excuse me, what? Sorry, Sunday. Every first Sunday. I was almost good. Every first Sunday. Look at it. She doesn't even promote it. What are you eating? M&Ms. Plain M&Ms. In case anyone knows, in case anyone wanted to know, Jade likes plain M&Ms. She's not using the yellow bag with the nuts. Okay. The Train Walkers are at Arlene's Grocery, 95 Stanton Street, every first Sunday of the month. They have a residency there, and they can be between 8 and 12 different train walkers, depending on who shows up. Oh, just let it go. And there's always a train walker to be had. There's always someone who wants to do an open mic there. If you're on stage, you're a walker, and that's what's going on. Well, it's usually about 10. We shoot for 10. Okay, and that is the story. It is 5:53. That leaves me 7 minutes to contemplate what I'm having for dinner. And that is, yeah, like I said, that is the story. So I thank all of you for tuning in, for listening to all I have to say. Hope I told you a few good stories. And again, if you're a clown, Ireland needs you. Okay, have a good night, everybody. I'll see you next week.